He learned from Madden, played collegiate football at 16, and was drafted into the NFL as a teenager. He is still the youngest player ever drafted and the highest Louisville Cardinal drafted since the AFL-NFL merger. However, his career never reached the heights many thought he could achieve. This is the story of the youngest player in NFL history. Let's put Amobi Okoye in the Carearview mirror. Amobi is not related to Carearview mirror alumni Christian Okoye, despite the same last name and living on an adjoining land in Nigeria. He moved to Huntsville, Alabama when he was 12 years old and was able to test into the 9th grade. His sophomore year of high school was when he started to play the game of football for the first time. When he got to training camp, his coach handed him a copy of Madden and had him hit the PlayStation to learn the game. By his senior season, he was a dual All-State honors player on both the defensive and offensive line. He transformed from the chubby baby-faced boy with a thick accent to a smart, athletic college recruit. As a two-star prospect, he was offered spots at Louisville, Mississippi State, Southern Miss, UAB, and Vanderbilt. He also looked to go to Harvard for educational reasons, but decided on Louisville for the better football program. He graduated a semester early with a psychology degree, which is impressive, but that's not what we're here to discuss. His age 16 and 17 season, he didn't see the field much, but he did make a slight impact. He grew into his 6'2" frame and recorded 2 sacks, making his first start against Army at the age of 17 his sophomore season, and recorded a career-high 7 tackles. His junior year, he totaled 23 tackles, 4 for loss, and a half sack in 11 games. Senior year was his breakout as the youngest senior in all of the NCAA at 19 years old. Starting all 13 games, Okoye gathered 54 tackles, 12.5 for loss, and 8 sacks. This gained him second-team All-American and All-Big East honors. He performed at the Senior Bowl and in the NFL Combine. In the 2007 NFL entry draft, the Houston Texans selected Okoye 10th overall after finishing the season 6-10. They hoped Okoye would pair well with last year's first overall pick and future subject of a video, Mario Williams, and form one of the most dominant defensive lines in the NFL. In the first month of Amobi's career, it looked as though that would be the case, as he led the NFL with 4 sacks and was named September's Defensive Rookie of the Month, as the Texans started out with a 2-2 record. However, both the team's success and Okoye's was not sustainable throughout the entire season, as the team finished 8-8, good for last in the division, and Okoye only had 1.5 more sacks over the next 12 games. He was only 20 at the time of this season, and many believed his good early start and young age was a glimpse into the player he was going to grow in as his body fully matured. Coming into the 2008 season, much talk was had of Okoye's offseason workout on improving his stamina and endurance so he wouldn't hit as hard of a second-half season wall as he did the previous year. With Mario Williams becoming a lead, there would be plenty of one-on-ones he could exploit and establish himself as a top interior defensive talent, which he desperately needed as the team's pass rush was anemic, ranking near the bottom of the league. However, he only tallied 1 sack, which came in a loss to the Raiders in Week 16. He missed 2 games this season with an ankle injury that bothered him throughout the year, and every one of his stats took a dip, disappointing a lot of hopeful Texans fans looking for a breakout season from the youngster. Despite that down season, Okoye was still seen as having great untapped potential, which, if realized, could make the defense one of the top units in the league. The Texans brought in a new defensive line coach to perhaps help with that and help him round out his game, as he seemed to struggle against the run often. With a vital season for his future in Texas arriving, Okoye hoped to put together a better season to help the young franchise. He finished the year with 38 tackles and 6 for loss, a career best at the time, but only 1.5 sacks in 16 games started, which is not quite the production they were hoping for from their slightly undersized defensive tackle. Okoye was still being touted as having potential coming into his 4th season, as he was still at the age of other NFL rookies coming in that year, and was showing his quickness on the field, giving the Texans faithful something to latch onto. He again topped himself in tackles and tackles for loss from the last season, and even doubled his sacks from the previous season. However, 3 sacks in 16 games wasn't going to cut it, as with the addition of J.J. Watt, he was deemed expendable on the defensive line, and the Texans allowed him to walk in free agency following that season. After wandering the free agent desert until July 31st, Okoye signed a 1-year deal with the Chicago Bears, with the hope that hyped defensive coordinator Ron Marinelli could turn the 24-year-old's career around. That year, Okoye was able to reach his highest sack total since his rookie year with 4, but fell off in every other category, as he only started 1 of the 16 games he appeared in. He was again let go following the season to find a new team to play for. Amobi was able to sign with the Bucs in early August, but was released on the 31st of the same month. 4 days later, he made his way back to the Bears on a one-year deal, which lasted just over a month before he was waived in late November, just to be a Bear again 2 weeks later. Over the 9 games he did appear in that season, he recorded a sack and 12 tackles. Following a season of waiver wire hot potato, Okoye was set to find another team to try and rebound his career with. However, he had to sit out the 2013 season, which was later contributed to a medically induced coma to help stop him from suffering seizures brought on by anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis, which is a condition where the brain suffers from inflammation and the patient usually has hallucinations and a high chance to develop tumors. After that horrific point in his life where Amobi could have literally actually freaking died, he sought to get back to the gridiron because, as we all know, the best place to work after suffering a head-related medical issue is for the NFL. He found his way onto the Dallas Cowboys roster in May of 2014 after being medically cleared and was recognized as the first player to ever return to the game after suffering from his condition. Unfortunately, he was placed on the non-football related illness list and eventually released in August of 2015, never playing it down for Dem Boys. Still looking to get a paycheck from football, he signed with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the CFL in 2016, but was placed on the team's inactive list and his contract expired in February of 2017. Okoye is retired and now works for his foundation he created when first entering the league, which helps to tackle hunger for inner city youths in Texas. A link to donate to his foundation will be found in the description below the video. Amobi Okoye knew nothing about football before he came to the U.S., but he was a bright student who was able to move through the educational ranks to become one of the youngest players in collegiate football history. After a dominant senior year, and I have to emphasize this, at 19, he made his way to the NFL, where the big boys play. Whether it was his young age that caused his downfall, or just a case of a player failing to meet extremely high expectations, he was never able to capitalize on his unique situation. But after falling ill due to his medical condition, we're all just happy he is alive and well.